on Woodward Sports. Join four-time Stanley Cup champion and legendary badass Darren McCarty and the golden voice of Neil Rule. Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. as they give their takes on all things Detroit sports. The number one midday show in Detroit is on. Welcome to Big D Energy.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Big D Energy live on the Woodward Sports Network. I am Flannel Sam, filling in for Darren McCarty, and the man to my right, one of my partners in crime on Wake Up Woodward, stepping in on this Friday afternoon, Mr. Matt Broder, coming off of a phenomenal Wake Up Woodward show. How are you feeling? The energy's still up? I know doing two shows in a row is a task, but I appreciate you, man.
Honestly, once it hit 10:45 a.m., I felt the tone. I was sitting in the seat, and the tone just started like oozing out of my veins. I feel it. It's as if, you're just getting in that seat with Neil Rule, you just become a little bit more of a tone ranger. Exactly.
I don't even know if that's a term.
It's a day of atonement.
Oh, the Tone Rangers, that was Jennifer Aniston's brother's, a cappella band in The Breakup. That's where I got that from. That's true.
The guys who came around, they would practice when Vince Vaughn was out, and then he'd come back and he'd try to play pool with his boys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I knew I got that from somewhere. We got Spencer Raxter.
Hello.
In the TD booth. And today we get the presence of Joel, intern Joel, in the sound booth. How are you feeling today, Joel? I heard you had a night.
Bro, I didn't have a good 3 nights actually. So from July 2nd, the 3rd, and now the 4th, I'm actually, like I said, I'm just going.
How do you feel right now?
I feel drunk right now. I'm just thriving.
Where did you wake up today?
Bro, I'm glad you asked me. I'm so glad you asked me. Bro, I dead ass, if y'all want to look, I gotta touch the music. I woke up in the fucking car. I'm like, bro.
What?
Whoa.
No, so look, I woke up in the car. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, maybe I'm in front of somebody's house I know. I'm looking around. I'm like, bro, I don't know none of these houses. I'm like, I don't even know where I'm at.
Liquor store, gun store?
No,
Where you taking me?
I'm like, I don't know who house I'm at. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. Like, I just look up, and then I open the door. It's throw up all on there. I'm like, I see what happened. I see exactly what happened. So I guess I just woke up. I guess I just stopped somewhere, threw up, fell asleep, woke up at like damn near 8 a.m. and just pulled off.
Man, and now you're here with us. Big D Energy.
I literally was telling KG, I'm like, that's the life of an intern.
Hey, I'll tell you what. When you're young, you can do that. If I had a night like that, I'd still be here because I'm a pro. But I wouldn't
that's
be
what it is. We gotta show up for the people.
But I don't think I could have a night like that anymore.
You're looking good though, Flannel.
Oh, thank you.
You're looking shaved.
No, he's looking clean.
I did shave and I didn't wear a flannel. Sometimes you want to switch it up a little bit. I mean, it's the Friday after 4th of July. What do you want? And I'm actually going to get a haircut right after this show. I got one scheduled for 1 o'clock. So Monday morning, hide your wives. I'll just say that. I already have one. I already have one. So you guys don't have to worry. So it's all well and good. But do you know what we wish we could all hide from at this point? The Detroit Tigers lost a series to Minnesota, which I guess there's not a ton of shame in that, losing 2 out of 3 on the road to the Minnesota Twins. But Kenta Maeda, Matt Broder, is it over?
Probably. I told on Wake Up Woodward, I said, I'm going to give him 2 more games to just prove to me that he can be a reliable number 5 starter, maybe eat up some innings. It's been so bad lately, though. Yeah. Like, even in this last month, he hasn't given you anything to, like, be excited about, to be optimistic about. It's not he's had one bad month to start the season like he has before, and then he's figured it out. He's just continued over the last 2 months to just, you're going to give up 9-10 runs when he's out on the mound. He just keeps giving up all these home runs.
You talking about Maeda, right?
Yeah. It's a mess. So I'm giving him 2 more games. I'm not going to judge you guys if you're out.
Yeah, I just watched the Tigers. Like, I was like, 4th of July, I'm going to watch the game. The game started, they was up 3-2. It ended 12-3. Am I right? That's what it was?
Yeah, that's what it ended up.
Yeah, no. Kenta Maeda, when I was watching it, he couldn't find the zone at any point, like getting constant bad counts, 3-0, 2-0, all that. Then like literally at one point, I think it was like the 3rd or 4th inning, I damn near think they like batted all the way around. So it's just like, yeah, bro, the 2 games that I've tried to watch the Tigers, they've gave like they worst of their worst outings. So it's like, for me, I've been out.
I mean, it's depressing for sure. And, we're gonna talk more about teams who have a little bit more hope. We got some Red Wings, some big news that broke during the Woodward Heavyweight Show on Wednesday that we haven't gotten a chance to talk about on Big D Energy yet. We're going to get to that. We got some Lions topics at the end. But, in this first segment, I thought I would talk about the Tigers a little bit, maybe be a little bit self-serving because you all know where I stand with the Tigers.
Are you out?
Well, okay, let me just say this. There are three things. When I'm watching the Detroit Tigers, there are three things that I'm looking for that are kind of like self-serving things for me and I think are the right things. One, I want Riley Green in the All-Star game in the worst way. In the worst way, because despite how bad it's been, despite them being, I think, 9 games under 500 and their offense being their obvious weak point, Riley Green is 4th in AL outfielders in walks, 4th in AL outfielders on base percentage, 6th among AL outfielders in OPS, and 6th among AL outfielders in WAR. I'm just saying, those are the type of all-star type numbers, and we got one. We may have missed on to Spencer Torkelson. We never know what he's going to be or if he's ever even going to come back to the bigs. But Riley Green, he's an all-star, whether you guys like it or not. And there's too many of you in the chat who are going to disagree with me, and I don't necessarily like that. And also, we need to make sure that Mark Canha, Jack Flaherty, and Carson Kelly become valuable trade pieces. Mark Canha's getting me a little bit worried right now.
Bro, what's he doing?
I know. I was just even a couple weeks ago, I was positive that you could package Mark Canha with maybe a prospect and get a top 100 from the Seattle Mariners or something like that. I'm not so sure anymore. He did get a hit yesterday. That was a very, very important 1 for 3. Thank God. He needed to get off the schneid. But lately it has not been good. Jack Flaherty, I hope he can make another start that is effective coming off of that second back injection, which is a little bit worrisome. And of course, Carson Kelly, he got himself a grand slam. What was it? It was Wednesday. Yes, it was Wednesday. But yet he's not in the lineup every single day. That's another story for another day. I want all of those things to happen. I want those guys to be flipped for top 100 prospects, and I think that it can happen as long as they play well down the stretch. And also, you guys already know this if you watched Wake Up Woodward on Wednesday. I want AJ Hinch shot to the moon at this point.
Whoa.
Yes, AJ Hinch.
Did you hear this, Benny?
I did not hear this.
Yes. AJ Hinch should absolutely be fired because he's mismanaged the lineup in ways in which I think are absolutely unforgivable. And if you want me to do a Cliff Notes version right now,
I think so. Explain how
yes.
you bypass the hot seat and go right towards the fire and right towards the shot to the moon.
Well, we all know that I'm kind of a Moneyball type guy. I like to get the best out of undervalued players. And I don't think AJ Hinch has necessarily done that. My first bone of contention with AJ Hinch was the fact that even when Kerry Carpenter was healthy, Hinch basically played him like a platoon guy instead of an everyday player.
That's fair.
There were 7 games in which he 7 losses, by the way, not just 7 games, 7 Detroit Tigers losses in which he either didn't play but was healthy enough to, or had 1 at bat, which means he was either a pinch hitter or he was pinch hit for. And those are 7 losses in which if you had Kerry Carpenter, a guy who had a 914 OPS, maybe you would have won, especially maybe that 1-0 loss to the Marlins, that 2-1 loss to the Yankees, that 5-2 loss to the Yankees, or that 5-2 loss to the Astros. You got to put your best players in. But also my bones of contention are with Carson Kelly and Andy Ibanez, which I've already told you about. And
he had another moment with Carson Kelly in the last 24 hours.
I'm just saying, if you want to, I'll just do the Cliff Notes version. I won't go with the 15 minutes one. Carson Kelly is 11th on the Tigers in at-bats, but is 4th in on-base percentage, 3rd in OPS, and 4th in WAR. Andy Ibanez is 13th on the Tigers in at-bats, 1st in batting average, by the way, 5th in on-base percentage, 4th in OPS, and 3rd in WAR. But yet, both of those guys have fewer at-bats this season than Javi Torque, Jake Rogers, Colt Keith, and Gio Urshela. And Andy Ibanez still has fewer at-bats than Zach McKinstry. It's just, and my underlying point with all of that is that this team, this Detroit Tigers lineup, it's not great. There's not a way that you can kind of MacGyver it or Moneyball it around for it to be great, but it doesn't always have to be this bad. In my opinion, there are 6 players on this team. I'll go 7 if you want to count Kerry Carpenter, but he's not playing right now, who have had good seasons in some way or form. Riley Green, Mark Canha, Carson Kelly, Andy Ibanez, Wencio Perez, and Matt Vierling. Do you know how many times all 6 of those guys have started in the same game?
How many?
3.
0. 0.0. 0.0. And I think we would all agree that to some extent, these guys have had good seasons. And I think that all of these guys would at least start on one contending team. Riley Green would certainly start on all contending teams. He would start on the Yankees over Alex Verdugo. Are you kidding me? Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, and Riley Green, that's an all-time outfield right there. Mark Canha, he would lead the Mariners in on-base percentage. He would start on the Mariners for sure. Carson Kelly has a 116 higher OPS than their starting catcher, Bo Naylor, for the Cleveland Guardians. Andy Ibanez, he would start on the Los Angeles Dodgers over that bum Gavin Lux, because Andy Ibanez has an 159 higher OPS than Gavin Lux, who I've always said has a name like Tarzan and a game like Jane. All I ever hear about is that great prospect Gavin Lux. He is terrible. Wensiel Perez, he would start on the Orioles over that overrated, turned into a bum Cedric Mullins.
Wow.
Wensiel Perez has a 32 points higher OPS than Cedric Mullins. He's either 32 or 52. My handwriting's not great, but either way, it doesn't matter still. And Matt Vierling, believe it or not, he should start on the Phillies because he has a 27 points higher OPS than Nick Castellanos. Again, those are things that maybe you didn't know, but now you know. My point is that if you put all 6 of those guys in the lineup every single day, and then depending on the day, you put Colt Keith in there as their 7th starter who has been good since May 1st, you can put Justin Henry Malloy in there, who showed some flashes. And depending on who's catching and who's DHing, you could put Jake Rogers at catcher for Skubal or other pitchers, Carson Kelly at DH. And if Carson Kelly is playing catcher, you put Gio Urshela as your ninth hitter. And then, of course, when Kerry Carpenter comes back, you can insert him in. Who knows if he is coming back? Back injuries are tough. My point is that A.J. Hinch has done a malfeasant job with putting the best players on the field. And it just bothers me because I think the opportunity to kind of moneyball this thing and get value out of players that even the Tigers undervalue, it's a missed opportunity. And shame on Hinch. Shoot him to the moon.
Look,
yes.
I was going to say, before you get into that, I just wanted to ask y'all a question since y'all are more of the baseball aficionados. And I don't really, I just tune in here and there. So, if the Tigers, with the pitching we got right now, if the Tigers had, two consistent good bats, just 2 on top of what we already have, what do you think the Tigers standing or ranking would be at right now?
I mean, I think my point is that they have more good bats than you think. People act like this is the worst lineup that ever existed. People act like this is the type of lineup where Jesus Christ, Sparky Anderson, and Jim Leland, an amalgamation of all 3 of them, couldn't get anything out of them. And I disagree. I disagree because at not one point this season have they put the best players on the field at the same time, position players. And oh, by the way, if you want me to drive the knife in a little bit more, pretty much for the entire month of May, you could have had all 6 of those guys that I mentioned, plus Kerry Carpenter. You could have had 6 of those guys, Kerry Carpenter, Colt Keith, and then either Gio Urshela or Jake Rogers, depending on who's catching. I don't hate that. It's not the greatest thing in the world.
So you more so saying it's the fuck up of the management. That's what you're saying.
I think the A.J. Hinch has done a malfeasant job. And for the record, let me just put this out there before we go to break. I understand people are going to knock on Chris Ilitch, and rightfully so, because he's not willing to spend. I understand that people are going to knock on Scott Harris, and I understand that. I understand that if they would have picked up Matt Chapman or Justin Turner or J.D. Martinez and drafted Wyatt Langford, that this team would be better this year. There is no doubt about that. All of those guys could help this team this year.
Wyatt Langford, a dog.
Absolutely. But what's done is my point. You can't go back and just opine for those players and act like A.J. Hinch just has to throw his hands up and let the team lose. My point is that you have enough right here to at least try it. Why not? Try getting your best players out there, and if it doesn't work, I will stand down and say there's nothing A.J. Hinch can do. My point is that there are things that he should have been doing and he could do right now that could help this team, but he's not.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I think A.J. Hinch should be fired. And I don't understand why he gets so many passes.
I'm not going to go as far to say he should get fired, and we got to get to break. But where I do agree with you, or at least the 2 areas where I agree with you, there's a time where you use analytics and you play to your matchups, and there's a time where you just got to ride the hot bat. And that's what you were talking about with Kerry Carpenter. When Carson Kelly, I know it was only 1 for 4 on Wednesday, but he went 1 for 4 with a grand slam, and 2 of his other 3 at-bats were good at-bats. He's not in the lineup yesterday. Do more. Play Wenzel Perez at shortstop if you have to. If you're going to DH Riley, just figure out how to get your hot hitters in the lineup. And also roles. Get your bullpen. I want bullpen roles. Like, you play matchups every single time. I want Shelby Miller to be your 8th inning guy. Maybe not anymore. Jason Foley to be your 9th inning closer. Like, as a baseball player, especially a bullpen pitcher, like, knowing, visualizing, and preparing for what you're going to do later in that game, it's such an important part of it. Not knowing, you're just waiting until the matchup is right, and then you get the phone call, like, hey, get warmed up real fast. Yeah. I don't think it's sustainable. There's only so much you can do, but those are the two areas I'm with you, Flannel.
And that's fair. And before we go to break, I just got one thing to say, because, of course, Chris Blackburn, Flannel is a complete and utter joke. That's fine if you think that. What's your solution? Or what's your suggestion? I'm giving a suggestion. I'm not saying what Chris Ilitch or Scott Harris should have done. I'm saying I think you can piece together something that is better with the guys that you have on your 25-man roster right now. And I think that's a little bit more constructive than just opining for Wyatt Langford or opining for JD Martinez, who, by the way, both of them would help this team, but they're not here right now. You know who is here right now?
Who?
Vladimir Tarasenko. We're going to talk about it a little bit more after the break. But first, I have to tell you about Dispo. This summer, Dispo Dispensary is turning up the heat with amazing giveaways and exclusive offers. Enter for a chance to win a signed football jersey and helmet from your favorite sports team. Screenshot this image with a QR code, bring it into one of their locations to get scanned, and you'll get a free $10 to spend in-store. This will automatically qualify you for the giveaway. Dispo Dispensary, visit today, disposhops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Feel alive during Feldman Chevrolet's biggest New Year's sales event ever. Get the best prices on our huge selection of award-winning Chevrolets. Like this 2024 Equinox for $188 per month. Or this 2024 Silverado for $268 per month. It's the New Year's sales event going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports. Enough Detroit sports. Make sure you listen to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz next, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the Woodward Sports Network.
Are you tired of wearing the same old Detroit sports merch? It's a new era in sports wearables. We got new designs, amazing apparel, and the ultimate swag. We got Boo Dem Kids shirts. What does Neil say? If you show us, if you send in a picture or a video of Boo and Them Kids, we will stop this show live and play it for you. Go get your Boo Dem Kids shirts. Go to woodwardsports.com and click shop. We got hoodies, tees, and the hats that are guaranteed to turn heads. So get the latest designs again today at woodwardsports.com and click shop.
Hey, welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. I am Flannel Sam. We got Matt Broder on the desk next to me. Partners in crime on Wake Up Woodward, but today, partners in crime on Big D Energy. We got Spencer Raxter. Hello. We've got Joel in the sound booth. I don't know if I've ever done a show with you before, so it's nice. New beginnings for all of us.
It's our first time on a desk. We got like 10 minutes of an intro together one time on Woo, but this is our first time together on a desk.
But you know what? No matter where we are in the sort of desk chair or anything, if we're on a show together, we're on a show together. So it's all well and good, and it's all fun. Well, yes. Red Wings fans were certainly happy, and the heavyweights got to react in real time. On Wednesday, the Detroit Red Wings signed Vladimir Tarasenko. What was the contract? Like 2 years?
9.5.
2 years, $9.5 million. Last year, he was a member of the Florida Panthers. He's most notable as a member of the St. Louis Blues, winning a Stanley Cup with both teams. And Spenmo Rex, if you want to get the Big D Energy crew caught up to your reaction in real time, Vladimir Tarasenko to the Red Wings. Thoughts?
Yeah, I love it. It's a great trade. This is a guy who has the potential to be a 30-point or a 30-goal-a-year guy. He is one of your top 6 forwards going forward. He brings a physical style to his offense where he's going to get down. He's He's going to get in front of the net. He's going to play aggressively, and he's fantastic when it comes to finishing the puck around the net. So I think him and Patrick Kane on the same line, even though defensively that might be a little bit of a struggle, but if you put Comfer in the middle, I think it'll balance out a little bit. Those two guys on the wings will complement each other very well. Those are two guys that have already played together in New York for the Rangers. So adding Vladimir Tarasenko to this team is extremely, extremely important, especially after losing David Perron, more than likely losing a Daniel Sprong. Like, those are two guys that scored a lot of goals for you last year, and bringing in a guy that's better than both of them to solidify your top six is extremely, extremely important.
Absolutely. And for the purpose of this segment, I'm just going to focus on the Vladimir Tarasenko signing just on its own. When I kind of dissected this and broke it down, you've got somebody who you can pretty much pencil in for 50 to 60 points. I would say closer to 60 if he's healthy. You've got a guy that during his prime was a consistent 30-goal scorer. He even got to 40 one year in St. Louis. Does he have like a Patrick Kane-like career renaissance? I know that renaissance coming off of a Stanley Cup title is kind of a funny thing, but he wasn't the man on those Florida Panthers teams. He was valuable, but it's not like he was on St. Louis where he was one of the best players on that team. He was one of the men, and he's going to be 32 to start the year and 33 as the season goes along. That's really not that old. Vladimir Tarasenko could be a very valuable contributor on this team. And like Spenny said, he helps solidify the top six forwards. If you got that, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. This came out on Woodward Sports.
I mean, that's a good-looking top six.
Well, and maybe people will disagree with me on this, but I've always been on the camp that if you have a top six like that, you can solidify even, or maybe make up for some depth issues. And when you look at this top six, I mean, you see like Dylan Larkin. He's a guy who can give you a point a game. He's a guy that you expect, given his track record, to not miss 14 games next year, because in 7 out of his 9 seasons, he's played over 70. You look at Alex DeBrincat. Again, a guy who struggled a bit down the stretch, but he'll probably give you at least 30 goals. He had 27 last year. Lucas Raymond, I expect a point a game. You've got Tarasenko, I said about 60 points. JT Compher is obviously the weak link of this six. And then you've got Patrick Kane, who is going to be here the whole year. And when you look at last season, one of the stories that you have to tell about last season, because it's unfair not to, is to talk about the collapse down the stretch. I called a collapse. Some people called a regression to the mean. I'm right, you're wrong. But obviously, you saw guys like Daniel Sprong play their way out of the lineup. Robbie Fabry wasn't great. Thank you, Matt Broder, for that.
You're welcome.
But one of the reasons why they collapsed so bad, you can point to 3 of those players who are going to be on your top 6 next year. Dylan Larkin, it all started when he went down. Alex DeBrincat, he pretty much was doing cardio for about a 20-game stretch. He really kind of fell asleep and disappointed me with his lack of a scoring and goal-scoring output when the Red Wings really needed someone to step up. And JT Compher kind of did the same thing. He wasn't great down the stretch either. You don't expect as much of him as DeBrincat. But JT Compher, when the Red Wings were winning, when they were 9 points clear of the last playoff spot, he was playing really, really well. And down the stretch, he wasn't giving you a whole lot. But yeah, this top 6, if they can all get to their form, which I don't think is that unreasonable, this is a pretty damn good top 6 when it comes to forwards. Matt Broder, your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I'm not sure, and I want to get the guys who know hockey a little better than me, but seeing Tarasenko and Kane on the same line, that's not the most defensive-focused line, is it? Like, because Tarasenko, although he plays a physical brand of offense, he's not a very strong defender. That's fair? Is that accurate?
Fair.
Yeah, 100%.
So, are they done? Like, I saw a press conference from Steve Yzerman the other day, Wednesday, I think it was, and he basically said that he felt the team was very similar to where they were last year. He hinted maybe there's another move to go. So I don't know. I mean, looking at it from the outside, and again, hockey's not my most knowledgeable sport. It seemed like it was so exciting to give Vladimir Tarasenko. Like, this is a move not only that nobody expected, but one that can help that offense, can help the power play. But does this put them that much farther ahead than where they were at the end of the season? Does this fix what happened when they collapsed?
it gives you a better top 6. I'll say that. I think he's better than David Perron. Even though David Perron is a bit of a power play specialist, and Vladimir Tarasenko really wasn't asked to do that much on Florida because why would he with their 4 stars? Throughout his career, he was competent on the power play, and he is better than David Perron, and they did need to fill that hole because David Perron was kind of one of the better low-key signings of the Steve Yzerman era, and he really helped this team a lot. And another thing about Vladimir Tarasenko that I kind of want to add to and why he can help this team, because he's won Stanley Cups in 2 different ways, as I kind of hinted earlier. He was a depth piece on Florida, a midseason acquisition depth piece last year. But on that St. Louis Blues 2019 team, he was the leading goal scorer in the regular season. He was the second leading goal scorer in the playoffs. He was definitely their second best offensive player after Ryan O'Reilly. So he's done it kind of as the man and as a depth piece. And I think with the Detroit Red Wings, I don't really know what role he's going to play. I think he's going to, like I said, score about 60 points. I don't think he's going to score as much as Larkin, DeBrincat, or Kane.
Raymond?
Or Raymond. Yeah, Kane and Tarasenko, I could probably see them being about similar. But yeah, and Kane and Tarasenko, they've played together before. So
would you have them on the same line? I'll ask you and Spenny and the chat. Like, would you play him on the same line? That's what that graphic showed.
Yeah.
But I think Jesus said maybe he's on the line with Raymond and Larkin, or he's on the line with Raymond, Larkin, and Kane. Or Jesus, what'd you say? Would you put them on the same line together?
I mean, defensively, it's going to be a little bit rough, but it's so tough because Raymond and DeBrincat, those are really kind of like first-line guys. I wouldn't, because I'm kind of bitter when it comes to the way DeBrincat ended the year, I wouldn't mind putting him on the second line, kind of even if it's just as punishment and putting Tarasenko up there and getting more of a variety of different skill sets. But, I mean, the reality is, at least to me, as long as they're on the top 6, I don't really necessarily mind too much where they're played. Although, as we said, there's going to be some defensive deficiencies with Tarasenko and Kane. But what Tarasenko and Kane also give you, which on a young team with draft picks who you expect to contribute, expect a couple of them to be stars, they've got that Stanley Cup experience. And both of them have Stanley Cup experience as them being like one of the top dogs on their team. So I am definitely excited for that. There's definitely some holes that they need to fill on this team before the season starts, or maybe one in particular. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But I think we would all agree, everybody in this room, that the top 6, I'm not necessarily mad at it.
No.
Yeah. If there are no moves, actually, if you assume that they re-sign or they sign Raymond and Sider to an extension, is this team as currently constructed, do they have to make the playoffs?
Well, yes. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in the next break.
Gotcha.
That is a great transition. But first, tell us about our show, Wake Up Woodward.
Wake Up Woodward every day, Monday through Friday, from 8 to 10 a.m. You got me, Flannel Sam. We're up on Big D Energy today, but we host that morning show with Kool-Aid, with KG, with Jeremy Bryant, JB Smooth the GOAT. We got Justin Jesus in the chat now. He's our intern, now promoted to a social media person. Shout out to Justin. We cover all 4 sports. We have a lot of fun in the mornings. Check us out every Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Let's Wake Up Woodward.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week, walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Store, same prices and all the conveniences of the online and big box retailers, with one major difference: they're family and locally owned and operated for over 30 years, with 60 brands of food and nutrition experts to help you. Same day, local curbside home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best. www.premierpetsupply.com.
Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. And Vincent Morales, I like the beard squirrel master, Sam. Well, wait a little while, and it will certainly come back. But for now, I am clean-shaven again. And the good news is that I have asked my wife, and she does say that I look like two different people, but that it's okay. Like, she likes both versions of old flannel Sam. So
Even hairless, something like Villanueva?
Ooh, I don't know about that. Jesus Christ. I've never given her that version. Oops. I hope to never have to, but for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, right? That's what they all say. Till death do us part. That is for sure. And you asked the question before the break, Matt Broder, is this a playoff team as currently constructed if the Red Wings don't make any other moves, which I expect them to do, by the way, but we obviously hope or expecting isn't necessarily a strategy, as we all know. Steve Yzerman made some comments in which you got the video or the, all right, you got the tweet. All right, cool. Yeah, but he basically just said that just to paraphrase, that this team is similar to last year and that he feels a little bit more of the pressure to make the playoffs, but it's not necessarily what I would call like a team that is more built for the playoffs. That's maybe like a bad paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said, that there's not really a ton of urgency. And I would just say to that the way that this team is currently constructed, I'm not necessarily sure if they will or not. Spenmo Rex, I'm going to start with you. If the Detroit Red Wings don't make any more moves, if their offense is the same, their third line's the same, their defense is the same, is this a playoff team?
Yes, I believe so. Getting better in the top six is definitely an improvement. Obviously, a full year of Patrick Kane and Simon Edvinsson will definitely help out this team both defensively and offensively. And the improvement of Talbot as the goaltender is enough to get them in the playoffs. I think right now, as they are currently constructed, they are a playoff team. I would love to see, the Trouba thing still happen, or maybe they go out and get a big defenseman to fill out that top two pair. But I think as of right now, who they have on paper, yes, they are a playoff team.
Fair enough. And Kiazi, he didn't quite say that, Flannel. He says he doesn't really feel the pressure, basically, that people of the media is putting on him. Basically, he goes by the beat of his own drum. And you know what, to be fair, that is more accurate as to what he said. And yeah, I was very complimentary of the top six forwards. However, a Twitter account called a Hockey Head, I believe that is what it's called, put out what he projects to be the top four lines of the forwards, the top three pairings on defense, and the top two goalies. And when I look at that, do we have that, Spenny?
Yes.
All right. When I look at that, there are certainly some things that leave a little bit to be desired. Obviously, I like the top six of the forwards. Then I look at the third line, which I did say before, and I'm going to be consistent, that if you have a good top six, it's not as relevant. To be honest, and I know that this isn't possible, but I want Andrew Kopp shot to the moon. And I know that nobody wants to take his contract, and why would they? Because it's not a good contract, but he has been one of Stevie Y's disappointing signings, and I don't want him on the third line. I would actually probably have Joe Veleno, honestly, and at some point I would like to have Marco Kasper. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but I think Andrew Kopp as the third line center is a little bit of a weak point. Rasmussen, I don't mind. Berggren, he's had his moments in the NHL, and he's looked like he's belonged. Mott and Fisher as your fourth line wings, I don't love it either. But honestly, to me, what concerns me the most is that second line right defenseman with the name Petrie. I don't mind Sherratt and Seider. Edvinsson, I think with a full season of him that he's going to be good. He's going to have a good year. I don't think it's going to be one of those where he was a flash in the pan at the end of the year and then he sort of shows some growing pains. I mean, he might show some, but he's going to have a good year. I mean, he was the 8th overall pick, for crying out loud. But Jeff Petrie as your second line right defenseman, and even Oli Mata with the pairing with Gustafsson, I don't necessarily like. Yeah, and go ahead.
I was just going to say there's two guys that I think that are young guys that are going to be on the Red Wings next year, and that's being Kasper and Johansson. because Johansson, he doesn't have any more years that you could put him on waivers, and he's not going to clear waivers if you put him. So he has to be on this roster going into this season. So I think that is a guy that you're going to see in one of those D pairings. Maybe not top 2, but I think he can. Maybe you bump up Gustafsson with Edvinsson in the second pairing, and then you have Johansson and either Petrie or Mata as your third pairing. But I think that's a guy you're going to see on this roster, and I think Casper is a guy you're going to see on this roster as well.
And I would love to see it. I mean, certainly you would love to see it. Here's the thing. My only trepidation with Albert Johansson, and it's not really even based on anything that he's done, because he's obviously been very good in Grand Rapids. We know that Stevie Y has hit a home run on Lucas Raymond. He's hit a home run on Mo Sider, and the early returns look very, very good on Simon Edvinsson. The only thing I will say about that, and it's important to hit on those are all top 10 picks. I understand that Mo Sider was a big-time steal, and nobody thought that he was going to be a top 10 pick, but those are 2 top 10 picks, and Simon Edvinsson was a top 10 pick, and Albert Johansson was a 60th overall pick from 2019. He's been in the minors for a while. I'm not saying he's going to be good, and we all know that Stevie Y in Tampa hit on Kucherov in the second round and Braden Point in the third, and that is some god-tier GMing right there, but that's what concerns me a little bit. And I'm a little bit concerned if they don't add another veteran to this list. I know they added Gustafsson to be that third line left defenseman, but the thing is, when we talk about these free agents, when we talk about some of the misses that Steve Yzerman had, and I'm not going to opine over these guys for too long. Don't get me what's done is done, but now that I'm here and some of the dust has settled, especially with Vladimir Tarasenko, I just want to give a couple of quick thoughts. When I did sort of the Flannel Sam offseason plan, I had planned on losing Shane Gostisbehere. I was like, okay, he can go. But I also was hoping for somebody to come in who was a little bit better than just Eric Gustafsson and Simon Edvinsson for a full year. And I understand that Eric Gustafsson kind of has somewhat of the skill set of Shane Gostisbehere, although he's not nearly as good of an offensive player. But he can be on the power play.
Yes.
But there's a few guys that I think that the Red Wings missed out on. I believe that Matt Roy would have been a big difference on this team. Former Los Angeles Kings defenseman. He got 6 years, $33 million, $5.5 million AAV from the Washington Capitals. His contract ends when he's 34. He's a righty. He was 7th in the NHL in block shots. That was the guy that I kind of called for on when I did the show with Sean Baligian. Another one who a lot of people are going to disagree with, I probably would have given Chris Tanev a contract. I know he's going to be 40. I know he's going to be 40 when the contract expires, but 6 years, $27 million, 4.5 AAV. He was 4th in the NHL in block shots, played for the Stars last season. But then if you're looking at some kind of under-the-radar Moneyball signings that I would have made to solidify this defense, you've got Alec Martinez, who played on Vegas. He's old, but he got 1 year, $4 million from Las Vegas. I would have given that contract. You've got Ian Cole, who's also older, 1 year, $3.1 million, 166 block shots. He played for Vancouver last year. And Ilya Lyubushkin, who got 2 years, $6.5 million. He had 168 block shots, and he played for Toronto last year. Those are some moves that I would have made if I were Steve Yzerman, or maybe he tried, but those are some under-the-radar moves that I would have made to kind of solidify this defense and give me less trepidation. Because, and I know this is just a projection, that hockey head isn't the gospel or anything, and things can happen. When I see Jeff Petrie as a second-line defenseman, I kind of want to puke. And I'm not saying he's the worst thing ever, but is he not the worst thing ever? I'm not so sure. You don't want him as your second-line defenseman. That can ruin lots of things. That can ruin a good top six. That can make things a lot harder on a Cam Talbot, for example, at goaltender, who we all believe is an upgrade. I mean, just look at the numbers. Just look at the numbers that he's put up through his career and last season, and look at the numbers that Alex Lyon and Ville Husso have put up when they were Red Wings. But at the same time, Cam Talbot played on the Los Angeles Kings, who were a much better defensive team than the Detroit Red Wings. And if you give him Matt Roy, who also played on the Kings, I would certainly love that as well. So I am still very, very concerned about the defense. I think Edvinsson is going to help for sure, 100%. A full season of Edvinsson is going to help. I think Gustafsson is going to be solid. But you gotta, and I know Johansson, there's a lot of hope for him, and I get it. I want him up. I want more of the young guys up if that's the plan. But, you know, all of the sudden, and I know a lot of people try to pretend that he was a bum now, I'm looking at Jake Wallman and being like, yeah, he probably would have helped this team. He probably would have helped this team. They wanted to dump his salary, but he probably would have helped this team. Even a Shane Gostisbehere, who, again, I was okay with losing with another move in mind. Yeah, if they don't get anybody else, he would have helped this team.
You're replacing the Ghost with Casper. It's a perfect fit. By the way, I don't know, and I won't spoil this for everyone.
Yes.
But did any of you see Beverly Hills Cop 4?
Yeah,
I
I
did
saw
not.
the scene. I think you're about to talk about.
scene?
The scene I saw. I
Oh,
think.
in the Red Wings game?
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's. You can see he's at a Red Wings game. He's from Detroit. But the one player that you get to see on ice, just a quick snapshot, it's Wallman.
Yeah.
I'm like, I saw it. I was like, poor timing.
Yeah,
but,
it sucks.
Back to the actual ice. You talk about improving the defense. I want to ask you about the most popular or the most widely talked about trade. It might be done, but would you be more excited if Edmondson was on your third line and a guy like Trouba was on your second line? Who's the odd man out in all this?
I want to get them on the second line together. Honestly.
Together?
I would want personally Edvinson and then whoever of these guys, maybe even Matt Roy on your first, but like a Simon Edvinson. If you put like Simon Edvinson and Ian Cole, or Simon Edvinson and Alec Martinez, Simon Edvinson and Ilya Lyabushkin, guys, I would put them on the second line. And Korean Jesus in the chat, thank you for tuning in even though you're on vacation. And this is why I gave you lots of names. I didn't just give you this one. He says, I love Tanev, but that contract was horrible. I don't necessarily think it's horrible, but it does go through the back end of his career, to put it nicely. He's got a few years when he's 38, 39, and 40. But he also said hit the nail on the head with Martinez. And that's why I wanted to come to I didn't want to come to the table with just should have signed Stamkos or somebody like that, or should have signed Marchessault. Even though I would have liked that signing, but I think Tarasenko kind of makes up for it. I wanted to give some lesser-known, better contract veteran names that I think could have been brought to this team to make them better. And for the record, after this is over, after this week is over, hopefully after Stevie Y makes another move, I won't be talking about it anymore. But in the interim, I look at that defense, and I look at some of the lower lines on this team, and I see a little bit too many relics of some of the bad signings that Stevie Y has made, while they had to get rid of some of the good players that Stevie Y has acquired, like a Robbie Fabry, like a David Perron, like a Daniel Sprong, or a Shane Gostisbehere, or Jake Wallman. I'm not saying that it's the end-all be-all or it's the end of the world, but nobody wants Justin Holl. Nobody wants Jeff Petrie. Nobody wants Oli Mata. Nobody wants Andrew Kopp. Thank goodness that we have him. That's all that's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
Those are kind of my issues with this, and how Red Wings fans all of a sudden want to act like Robbie Fabry was always a bum or Jake Wallman was always a bum. That's a little disingenuous to me. Maybe I'm looking into it a little bit too much, but you're going to see that on this chat. You're going to see that all throughout Red Wings discourse, and I'm not a fan. I'm not saying that losing them is like, oh my God, it's the worst thing ever, but those are some good, solid players that the Red Wings lost, and they had to keep some of the players that are on the worst contracts or some of their worst players. My point is that this season, it's got to be playoffs. To me, it has to 100% be playoffs. I don't want any regression. And I think another defensive move, whether it's, you know what, we're going to talk about that in the next segment, a little bit of a teaser. Go ahead, Broder. You're going to say something.
No, and I was going to say for the last 60 seconds, maybe you can bring this together for me, but maybe we'll talk about it in the next segment too. And don't hate me for making this comparison. Detroit is hockey town, so
yeah.
We'll get that out of the way. It's not on the same timeline. It's not happening at the same moment, but is Stevie Y treating this similar to Scott Harris with the Tigers in a sense that he's doing whatever he can to make sure this organization is 100% guys that he has approved of, prospects he's drafted, trade acquisitions that he's made, really just moving on from the regime before him so that he can move forward, and the big splashes are going to come when it's 100% his canvas that he's painted.
Yes, and I agree with that. I think that with the Red Wings, it's more understandable because of the salary cap. Like, you can't just go around signing guys willy-nilly. And theoretically, if you were Scott Harris, you could have signed JD Martinez and Matt Chapman, but I don't think he wanted to do that. I think he wanted to rely on the young guys, and some of them have worked. A little too many of them have not, and that's why they're in the position that they're in. Go ahead.
I just got a little update from, obviously, Prospects Camp. It's from the Grindline podcast. Dan Cleary on guys who have a shot to make it this year. The first name he said was Nate Danielson.
Ooh.
Also followed by Marco Casper and Carter Mazer.
I like that.
See, like Danielson is a 2C, pushing Comfort down to 3.
Max Clark?
Man, that's a little, man, obviously he's got a ceiling that dwarfs JT Compher, but counting on a rookie to be your 2C, I mean.
But if you put him on a line with Tarasenko and DeBrincat, or Tarasenko and Kane, and just have him dish into those guys, be pretty nasty.
I don't hate it. And again, a lot is going to play out, which is why a lot of what I'm saying could be null and void down the road, but that's why we're in this business. We got to react to it in real time. And right before we go to break, this is from Korean Jesus, who I wish was here. I like talking hockey with him. Flannel, you're talking about bad signings, but want to sign Tanev to a contract that hinders our championship window. That's why I gave him as one of my 5. I don't think that one, I even argued as I was making it that it might be a bad contract. Alec Martinez is not a bad contract. Ian Cole, Matt Roy, Ilya Lyabushkin, those are not bad contracts. Those are not long-term. Matt Roy is a little bit, but he's going to be 34 when it's over. But again, what's done is done. They're gone. They're never going to be with us, at least for the time being. And that is, I wouldn't say that that's okay, but it's got to be okay because it has to be. But you know what else is okay, even better than okay? That haircut that I'm going to get at Lady Jane's right after I get off air today. You can walk in anytime. You don't need an appointment. You can go to Lady Jane's and get any of the talented stylists to get you looking good, whether it's for a job interview, whether it's for a date, whether it's for, a Big D Energy show, although I couldn't get one before. But next Monday's Big D Energy show, that is who you want to go to, Lady Jane's. You can walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. It's wicked awesome.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! Detroit sports. Make sure you listen to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz next, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the Woodward Sports Network.
Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts. Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network, and I see Rack in the chat. You're a funny, funny man. Why wait till 1? Just go now, Flannel. We'll be okay without you. You know what I like about you, though, Rack? You're good-natured. Some of the people in here, I'm not so sure, although I like to give some the benefit of the doubt. But Rack, we've met many times. He is one of the OGs.
Rack's the man.
Rack is an awesome dude. But speaking of awesome dudes.
Oh, thank you.
Matt Broder, Spemo Rex, Joel. But I want to talk about some of the moves on the blue line defensively that the Detroit Red Wings could potentially make to I would say, finish out this offseason in style. Because I think universally the Tarasenko acquisition is a good one, and we all like it. Cam Talbot, I know there's some trepidation given his age and the way that he finished out last year, but he is an upgrade. And my overlying point with it is that if Cam Talbot were the goalie of the team last year, the Red Wings would have made the playoffs.
Yes.
So to me, it's a good enough signing given how cheap it was. And I don't think there's really anything bad about that. But defensively, there's been a certain trade that has been widely reported with the Detroit Red Wings and the New York Rangers, but hasn't quite come to fruition yet, or will it ever come to fruition? And it seems like it's being held up by some issues, or I don't want to say issues, but like
Life,
absolutely.
I'm here to defend Kelly, and that's her name, Kelly.
And that's
a good Kelly.
Another Kelly?
No, hey, Kelly Trouba doesn't get. We're not gonna slander her yet.
Okay.
Actually, it is your show, so do as you please.
No. I'm not going to slander Kelly Trouba. I'm just giving you what the holdup might be.
I know.
What the holdup might be. So the question that I have, and I'm going to go to you, Spenmo Rex, for this one. Is it really, at this point, given all of the people that I mentioned in the previous segment who are now not available, who have signed, is it trade for Trouba or bust?
I think so, honestly. I mean, there's not many other... Everybody talks about Ekblad, like, oh, that could be a thing. That's not going to happen. The Panthers aren't going to give up him after losing some of the guys they already have. He's the most important, one of, if not the most important player on their roster. They're not just going to let him go. I think it really is Trouba. New York wants to get rid of him. They want to move on. The Red Wings want to have him. I just love the thought of him and Simon Edvinsson as that second D pairing, just out there killing people on the blue line. So we'll see what happens, but I really do think it's either Trouba or you just roll with what you got.
And we've talked about this before, is there any way, and this is my dream, is there any way that the Red Wings can acquire Trouba via trade and keep Ben Sherratt?
Yes, I think so, and I think you'd have to give up either Johansson or Wallander in that situation.
That's tough. That's one of those, I would say, win now versus hope for the future. And again, when it comes to Johansson and Wallander, I'm not saying that they're going to be bad or that they're not going to live up, but neither of them are top 10 picks. And I'm not saying top 10 picks is the end-all, be-all, but you're more likely to hit if you are. And I pointed that out because that's what Raymond, Sider, and Simon Edvinsson are. And yeah, Jacob Trouba, like I said, he's somebody who kind of fell out of favor with the New York Rangers, even though he's obviously still a good player.
Is he everything that the Red Wings need? Like all of their holes on defense / the not leadership, but the hard-headedness, the going and dig the puck out of the corner, like going in and against the opposing team's grinder after they go after Larkin. Like, isn't that what Trouba is and exactly what the Red Wings are missing?
Yes. I mean, Spencer has said that Edvinsson and Trouba are going to kill people. Mm-hmm. And
I want that.
I mean, I'm on board with that. They're both just like these, big, physical, hard-hitting defensemen who are going to... I mean, they're going to impose fear. They're going to impose some trepidation into opposing teams' forwards. I will just say that if that line comes to fruition, if they live up. But at the very least, they're going to be those grinders and hard hitters. And Jacob Trouba was also 12th in the NHL in block shots. And who wouldn't want that on this Red Wings team, on this defense? I would say even if you have to give up Sherratt. Because for the record, if you have to give up Sherratt, that's fine. It's just not ideal to me. But I think a Trouba trade, if you parlay that with Tarasenko, if you parlay that with Cam Talbot, if you re-sign Raymond and Sider, and if you get, oh man, his name is escaping me, that other Rangers defenseman. You guys know who I'm talking about, but yeah.
Adam Fox?
No, the guy that they got, the third liner. Man, I'm drawing a blank at this point, but that's all well and good. We don't. If you do all of that, that to me is a no doubt playoff team.
I want playoffs.
Gustafsson.
Oh, Gustafsson, of course. Eric Gustafsson, duh.
That the Red Wings got.
Yeah, if you get all of those guys, I think that's a successful free agency. If you aren't able to complete a Trouba trade and you're not able to acquire anybody else, that to me is a potential glaring hole. Because when I was looking at free agency, it's bleak at this point. If there's one guy that maybe I could get behind the Red Wings getting, it's Ryan Lindgren another kind of depth defenseman from the Rangers. He's a free agent right now. He wouldn't cost you too much. He's young. He had over 100 block shots. I don't hate it. Would it move the needle that much? I don't know. Do I think he'd be better than Petrie or Ole Mata? Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, so I guess that would be a solid-ish backup plan, but at this point...
We got to see what the money looks like, too, after signing. You got to re-sign Mo Seider and Lucas Raymond, and they're both going to be around $8 to $9 million per year. You got about a little bit over $20 million left, so we'll see what happens with that. But
yeah, and that's all well and good because nobody disagrees with them getting the bag because they both earned it. Rando Smalls, I don't know if he's just kind of doing a hypothetical that couldn't happen, but we hope. Could the Red Wings grease some pockets to get his wife's internship transferred to Detroit?
DMC.
That's a.
Can we hit up Sheila Ford Hamp and have her?
They're both University of Michigan graduates. Maybe the University of Michigan hospital has some jobs. Correct me if I'm wrong, or tell me to F off if this is way out of left field. I mean, you can do that anyway. If they don't land this Trouba trade, is that not happening enough to question? Then turn around and question the Kane contract. Like, why did you bring him in for a year if you're really not going for it, or if this isn't a team that can truly compete for a Stanley Cup, not just make the playoffs, but have a chance to win a couple series if you get there? Or should I be separating those two?
I would probably separate those two personally, just because I think Steve Yzerman had a plan in mind that he was going to get Patrick Kane. And at the time, the reports for Jacob Trouba were pretty much, not that it was a done deal, but it was certainly, it was being reported everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, it was almost at the point when we were doing these shows where we were talking about it like it was just inevitable, like it was going to happen. But yeah, if you can keep acquiring good players or re-signing good players. I mean, Patrick Kane, whether you have Trouba or not, it does make it more likely that you get to the playoffs. It does give you a legitimate top six that is formidable. And if you didn't have Patrick Kane, if you didn't have, imagine this, and you brought this up, so I'm going to give you this hypothetical that is kind of nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
Imagine if you didn't re-sign Patrick Kane and you still weren't able to get Jacob Trouba.
Oh, yeah, it'd be a nightmare.
You're right.
A nightmare. But I was trying to picture myself in those negotiations between Yzerman and Kane. And although Yzerman got his term, he only signed him for a year with incentives for making the playoffs, for games played. But I'm thinking Kane, he's doing this partially because he thinks they can go on a run. Like, is he signing if he knows that this Trouba trade, or if that the roster looks like it is now, which I'm excited about the team as is. It would be better with Trouba, but I like the trajectory we're on. Kane's coming down the final stretch. I don't know if he got 3 years left in him. He's probably got more than one, but like, if I'm Kane, I'm a little like, man, like we need a little more to happen.
Well, here's the good news. Kane's already here. So you can't go nowhere.
Factual.
Haha.
Yeah.
But
maybe he's using a trade at the like. Do we have to before the season think about trading Kane at the deadline, or is this the time to tell me to F off?
I'm not going to tell you to F off. It's just, it all depends on how it plays out. And that's always been my thing with the Detroit Red Wings. And people call me a hater, and people say that I want Steve Yzerman fired, which isn't true. But the way that it is all played out, yes, have they had linear improvement? I can't deny that, and I'm happy about that, and I'm excited about that. Does there seem to be a vision with making sure that the youth that the Red Wings have drafted, many of them top 10 picks, get into the NHL and kind of fuck the league together? Yes, that seems to be the vision of one Steve Yzerman. But I got to see it play out because there's so many things that could potentially not go right. Like the away fan, who's a big hockey guy, and I appreciate his input. I think we were talking about like a Ryan Lindgren or somebody like that. Nah, Sam, you got to give the youth a shot, and that's all well and good. And we've seen Mo Seider, we've seen Lucas Raymond, we've seen tidbits of snippets of Simon Edvinsson, and all of those look to be really, really good right now, particularly Raymond and Seider. And Nate Danielson's a top 10 pick.
Yep.
Marco Kasper's a top 10 pick.
Obviously, you got Sandin Palinka coming down the pipe. It's going to be a couple years before he gets here, but he looks very, very promising. He's probably the guy I'm most excited about when it comes to prospects that the Red Wings have.
Well, and just imagine the fit on the team, too.
It'd be perfect.
Given his offensive defenseman capabilities. I would love that. ASP, Kosa. But you've also got, and maybe I shouldn't hold it against them, and you can tell me if I'm being unfair. guys like Carter Mazer and Johansson and Bergeron and Soderblom and Wallander, they weren't like high up draft picks. They were all second round or lower. Even Trey Augustine, who looks like a steal at this point, given what we've seen from him. Is that unfair of me to have more questions about them than like Casper or Danielson?
I wouldn't say it's unfair of you to have more questions about them, because obviously the higher touted prospects are going to be the guys that more than likely pan out. But, you look at this Red Wings organization and they have a history of making bad prospects, lower draft picks into stars. Now, I'm not saying, we're going to have 6th or 7th round draft picks end up being Hall of Famers like we do with Datsuk and Zetterberg, but I think these guys that might have been out of the first round are still high quality players, high quality prospects, and like I said, I expect Johansson to be on this roster next year. I think you have to, because he's not going to clear waivers, and I'm pretty sure he's on the last year of his, he doesn't have any waiver exempt years. So if he's not on the roster at the beginning of the season, you have to put him on waivers, and somebody's going to pick him up. I think he's going to be on this team to start the year.
That is great information, Spenny, because I didn't even know that. I should have known that, but it definitely gives you more hope that Johansson is going to be on the roster, because you can't just let somebody like that go, especially go on waivers and get picked up, especially since we already saw what Big Head Hockey had as the potential defensive pairings. Johansson, is he a guy that steps in right away and is an upgrade over Petrie or Olimata?
I think so.
Okay.
I personally hate Olimata with a passion.
I know you do.
I really don't like Olimata. He had a couple good games at the end of the year last year, but that's not going to make me overlook him being a complete traffic cone. I think that Johansson will step in there and he'll be an upgrade from either of those guys.
And that's fair. And the more of the draft picks that we see actually proving to be competent NHL players, or in the case of Lucas Raymond and Mo Sider, potentially great NHL players, the better, and this whole plan can come to fruition. Because my thing has always been, and I know we're going to go to break in a second, is that I've been less patient than some. As we all know, I thought it was a failure that they missed the playoffs. I thought the end of the season was a collapse. I hope that there's a payoff.
But 130 seconds?
No.
130 seconds? What are we doing here?
You mean a 5-12-3 finish to the season, to where they were at one point 9 points clear for the playoffs, and then made it where they had such a bad stretch to where they could go on a 3-game losing streak to end the year and still not make it. All that's true. I'm just saying that. But if all of these young guys pan out, then maybe I'll look foolish, and that this whole Yzer plan will come to fruition and they'll get a cup. It's just that it's hard when you just don't know yet. You think you know, and you think a lot of positive things about some of these prospects, and even some of the guys that we have on this team that are going to be there when they're ready to win, like Larkin, for example. But you just don't know yet. But if they get another defenseman, I think they're a shoo-in for the playoffs. The way they're currently constructed, the expectation should be playoffs or bust. I just have some concerns defensively. Hopefully a Cam Talbot can clean up some things that Lyon and Husso were not. But do you know who else can clean up some messes if you've got some issues?
What?
Insurance. Swiss is where you should go. Now more than ever, it is critical for you to have your insurance reviewed. Swiss Insurance will make sure your carrier is not slipping in extra fees. Call Mark at Swiss Insurance today at 313-530-1698, or go to their website at swissins.com.
At Planet Fitness, you can get everything you need for just $1 down.
Try out Planet Fitness and dang.
I was sensing you were trailing off and we're about to go to break.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Hey, y'all better get on these free fitness training sessions from Planet Fitness.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home?
Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
Join Planet Fitness today and get everything you need for just $1 down. $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends Thursday, July 18th.
Game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports. Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
Join the best youth football league in Metro Detroit. That's the Boys and Girls Club of Southeastern Michigan's 3C Sports League. It offers youths ages 5 to 14 with 6 exciting teams to choose from in Detroit, in Belleville, Highland Park, and East Point. All coaches, they're trained, certified, and undergo background checks, so you have a chance to register for football or cheer at bgcsm.org. They got equipment, meals, and transportation. It's all included for a chance to play for a championship at Ford Field. It just costs $175 per child. Put the youth back in youth sports with BGCSM 3C Sports.
Hey, cruising on into the second hour on Big D Energy.
We back.
We are back. I am Flannel Sam filling in for Darren McCarty. We've got Matt Broder filling in for Neil Rule. We got Joel in the sound booth. We've got Spenmo Rex in the TD booth. And we've got Pete Spivak just walked into the room on the chair. So we have a full house right now. And speaking of full houses, something that we hope that this team has a few times this year, the Detroit Pistons. Although there shouldn't have been any full houses last year. But you know what? They have made some, I would say, clear upgrades to help Cade. They drafted Ron Holland. They drafted Bobby Klitman. So they've made some moves, and they've acquired some assets. But for the purpose of this conversation of right now, it's more about the moves that they made, the players that they retained, some of the draft picks that have another year of experience, a guy like J.B. Bickerstaff, Fred Vincent, along with everything. So my question to you, I'm going to start with you, Matt Broder.
Bring it.
What are your expectations for the Pistons next season?
My expectations are that they're better. I don't know how many wins. I don't know if Tobias Harris and Tim Hardaway Jr. are 10 wins guaranteed. I thought 14 wins last season was embarrassing. Like no NBA team should lose 14 games, tanking or not. So I think they're going to get better. Are they a play-in team? I don't think so. I just want to see a clear step forward in terms of understanding what their identity is. What is JB Bickerstaff? What's his handprint going to look like? I really like that signing. Who knows if he's going to be the coach in 5-6 years, at the end of his contract, which we hope the Pistons are starting to contend, like be in the playoffs for a couple years in a row, by the end of his contract. So to be determined, but with the moves of Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr., you still haven't given up on Jaden Ivey, on Jalen Duren, on Beef Stew, on Marcus Sasser. So there are a lot of pieces and a lot of things I'm excited about. I just need them to play better. I need to see some identity out of this team. That was the one thing. I can't point to one moment in last year where I look at that Pistons team and I'm like, oh, okay, I can deal with this because I see what they're building. It was nothing. It was a big fat nothing burger from game 3 to the end of the season. So I just want to see him get better. I'm not a fan of the moves individually, but I do like how this roster looks right now. They just need a big man to protect the rim. And I'm good. I'm good rolling into this season.
Okay, fair enough. And the person I feel even more sorry for is our brother Kool-Aid, who had to be at that arena watching those games. Oh yeah, that's a great comparison actually. Corey Woods. Yeah, those were some dark days for Mr. Corey Woods and for Mr. Brandon Kool-Aid Dent. And a crazy clown in the chat before I go to Joel. Flannel wants to teach Broder how to throw a Maeda hanging splitter. I'll tell you what.
Easy.
I can't teach Broder anything when it comes to pitching, because if you guys want me to embarrass myself a little bit on air, who doesn't want that, right? It was at the Grand Prix. I was working it, and I had an opportunity to do that thing where you can throw a baseball and it tracks how fast you're throwing it.
Yes.
And I wound up and I reared back and I threw with all of my might. I felt good about it. And then I saw 50 miles an hour.
So like a Maeda fastball.
Yeah, right. Hey, put me in there instead of Ken Maeda, coach.
I think the point was that you could actually, you might be the exact right person to replicate a Maeda fastball or a splitter, as he put it in the chat. It's right over the middle. It's fat. It's nice. It looks like a beach ball.
Movement.
Just hanging right there. Hanging right there.
Just spinning the spin.
Pardon?
I said just spinning the spin. No movement at all.
It's just hump. Just a hump.
Yeah.
Not a sharp hump. Just a soft hump. Why are you laughing in that booth?
No, I'm laughing. I'm laughing because, bro, like I said, I only watched Kenta Maeda literally yesterday, and he played terribly. So I'm like, it's funny that y'all making these jokes, and the only game I've seen of him, he was terrible. And I heard that he's 36. I'm like, bro. They were literally saying on the announcement booth, because I guess I was watching on like a legal stream, so it was the Texas Rangers announcement booth. They was like, yeah, he's 36. It was like, he been decent, but they was like, he really played into his contract because he had a good September last year. That's the reason he got a multi-year contract. And it is like, stuff like that just show like the epitome of Detroit sports for like my whole life. Like signing a guy because like you caught lightning in a bottle with him, and then you like, oh, he's about to be our savior. And then you sign him, and then he fucking playing like Kenton.
He's got some tools, and he's been a decent pitcher at various points in his career. But it's not aging. The signing is not aging well. But in terms of the Pistons, like actually, what are your thoughts? Like, we haven't talked in a couple days with these moves with Bickerstaff. What's the question you asked me? What are you expecting out of this team?
Yeah, no, honestly, and maybe I'm being a little bit too, I would say glass half full. I would say between 25 and 30 wins at this point. I know, maybe closer to 25.
Look out.
I understand. Isn't it sad that me saying that makes me a slappy?
Isn't that weird?
That's a sad
sad
state of affair for the Detroit Pistons, but everybody knows who's listening to me on the air long enough. I'm a Cade stan. I think that he's going to be a great player. I think that someday you're going to be seeing him in the Hall of Fame. I believe in Cade Cunningham that much. And I believe that signings like Tobias Harris and signings like Tim Hardaway Jr., given the spacing that they can provide, will be, I'd say that given the pairing with Cade, especially in comparison to what he had to work with last year, they will help each other exponentially. Just a little bit more spacing for Cade, more open looks for Tobias Harris and Tim Hardaway Jr. And then you look at, I like the JB Bickerstaff hiring. I like the fact that even though, as we talked about before on a previous show, Spencer, that Cleveland had more good defensive players than the Pistons do.
Yes.
That's no doubt about it at all. But those teams were always very defensively sound with JB Bickerstaff. I mean, at one year, they were the #1 ranked defensive team in the league. You had guys like even Max Strus and Donovan Mitchell playing damn good defense, Karis LeVert, and then, of course, the ones you'd expect like Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley. And also, the reality is that say what you want about a shooting coach in Fred Vitson, but it wasn't just Lonzo Ball. It wasn't just Brandon Ingram. Look at Herb Jones. Just imagine. And I know that this is...
Bro, bussin'.
I know that this is far-fetched.
I love Herb Jones.
Just imagine. No, that's fair.
And Trey Murphy. I love them both.
That's fair.
Take my body.
Just imagine.
Come on, bro. What are we doing?
You know what? I don't blame you, though.
Wait, what?
Anywho, just imagine if somebody like Asar Thompson or Ron Holland can improve his three-point shot even to the approximation of what Herb Jones did. Right now, Herb Jones might be the best 3-and-D guy in all of the NBA. Yeah. He was an all-defensive player, and he shot over 40% from three on medium-level volume. Not super high volume, but still. I like what they've done.
There's competence around Cade.
There's competence. There's a direction. There's wanting to clearly improve the three-point shooting and the defense, which were two weak points on the team. And I think things are more of a fit for Cade. And for the record, I don't know if I fully come full circle, but the more this offseason is playing itself out, I may have had too strong of an initial reaction to the Ron Holland signing.
I think a lot of us did.
Or the Ron Holland draft pick. I still wouldn't have picked him, but I see what they're doing. Given his tools, I think they want to maximize his defense. Obviously, he's got a plethora of an offensive skill set. He just needs to work on his three-point shot, and I think Fred Vinson might be the guy to doctor it well. But coming up next, we're going to talk a little bit more about the man, the myth, the legend. Well, maybe not quite yet, but the man on this team, Cade Cunningham, and expectations for him as an individual. But first, tell us about Mark White.
I will tell you guys about Mark White because Mark White is here to help. If you're dreaming of a new home but feeling the financial pinch, Mark White and Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right, I said $5,000. Call Mark White and Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit them at markwhitesells.com. Again, call them today at 248-290-8242 to make your dreams come true.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Now live during Feldman Chevrolet's biggest New Year's sales event ever. Get the best prices on our huge selection of award-winning Chevrolets. Like this 2024 Equinox for $188 per month. Or this 2024 Silverado for $268 per month. It's the New Year's sales event going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a first-class car buying experience. They call it the Feldman Advantage. They got 18 locations, so there has to be a dealership in your backyard somewhere. Just visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest you. Also, check us out there. That's the Wake Up Woodward crew and Big D Energy next Wednesday at Feldman Chevrolet of Novi. They're awesome. They're great hosts. Part of what makes Feldman Chevrolet Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer.
Are y'all ready for the pick?
Yeah.
Ron Holland. Oh, DB is nice. What the fuck is that?
What are you doing?
Number 10 on my big board.
Damn it, bro.
Listen, we gotta. What? No.
Oh, I hope that someday Ron Holland makes me look like the biggest idiot who ever lived. I'm hoping that. And I'm hoping that he can come on this show and just like
come in.
Do I don't know what he would do, but
Cut
just
into you.
if he needs to like give me a sock in the face, he can do that. But I will say this though, let me be fair. The man who's currently in the sound booth right now, he wasn't too happy either. I just got caught on camera. Joel, you were losing your mind too.
Yeah, I would say we was all losing our mind. I'm not gonna go around saying like, what should I say? I'm not gonna go around saying he probably the worst pick that we could have took or like a bad player until he plays. But I don't really think that was the pick. But hey, like
he's Jahmyr Gibbs.
I hope he can't. No, that's wrong. Cause look, I was bro. I tell everybody, I literally pull up the text every time. I texted my friend watching the Alabama game. I think they was playing Arkansas or Mississippi State. I literally text him. I'm like, bro, because he from Alabama, so I text him all the time about Alabama. So I'm like, bro, whenever Jahmyr Gibbs declares for the draft, I'm like, the Lions need to pick him. I'm like, I don't care what pick we have. I'm like, I don't care if we got the first. I'm like, I don't care if we got the 30th. I'm like, whatever pick we have to do whatever to take Jahmyr Gibbs. And they did, and it was like just to my surprise. So it was like, wow. So I was actually happy about that. I was like telling everybody that was mad about that, like, no, like you gotta watch Jahmyr Gibbs play. Like he can turn the 3-yard run into a 13-yard run. He can turn the 13-yard run into an 80-yard run. But Ron Holland, I keep saying, nobody. I dare you to lie to me and say you have watched more than 2 G League Ignite games. I dare you to lie to me and say you've watched 1 full G League game. So it's like we don't really know anything about him right now. So that's why I'm not even gonna really like. I got more so mad because it's more so like, who the fuck is this guy? It was more so, that's more so what it was. It wasn't like he's just the worst player ever. It was like, who the fuck is this?
No, he was arguably one of the best all-around players in the draft. Yeah. His one downside is the one thing that the Pistons need. I think that's part of the reaction that not just you had, that a lot of people had. Ron Holland, his shooting percentage is a joke.
I had shades of Weaver. I think that was my Troy Weaver PTSD because to this day, I don't think he gave a damn about shooting. I don't think he gave one F about shooting. And Monty Williams, when you see an old interview of him talking about like analytics and what like that, he's just like, oh, those are stats. Those are the classes that I took at Notre Dame. Just did not give a damn about anything like that in tendencies. And but it's a new regime. It is a new day moving forward. I think it'll be better.
I like Ron Holland. I do. I mean, obviously, you know, I was a Cody Williams guy. You'd like to see the 3-point shooting upside for sure. But Ron Holland was the best player available at that pick, and it wasn't even close. Like, I think that he has the potential to be a star in the NBA if he gets his shooting up to respectable levels, and I think Fred Vincent is the guy that's going to be able to do it if anybody can do it. But this is a guy who is going to be an elite wing defender the minute he steps into the NBA. This is a guy who can break down players and take them off the dribble. He is a guy who can guard 1 through 4 on this team. So if Fred Vincent could get him to be a 30+% shooter in his first year from deep, then he's going to be one of the best players on the roster.
This just popped into my head, but is it fair to say that Asar and Ron Holland have a much higher ceiling than Herb Jones and Trey Murphy?
Yes.
Like that makes me excited.
Herb Jones
this table is raising.
They're Herb Jones and Trey Murphy as lottery pick talent. Like, these are guys that have the potential and could be next year the best defensive wing pairing in the NBA. Like, they are nasty, nasty defensive players, and both of them are extremely, extremely athletic and very talented in the open court. So if either of them can, or both of them hopefully can get their shooting percentage to respectable numbers in the NBA, they can be nasty players.
Yeah, and that's where Fred Vincent has to come in. That's where I would say, and the thing about both Ron Holland and Asar Thompson's shot is it's not like it looks that terrible of form. It's not like what Lonzo Ball's looked like when he first went into the NBA. It doesn't look bad. It just, in the case of Asar Thompson, we've already seen it in the NBA. It just never goes in, and it didn't go in enough for Ron Holland in the G League. And Joel, I wanted to get to you, so I'm going to get to you now.
I just want to address one thing real quick.
Yep.
Weezy D313 said, Spenny naming everything Asar can do, except Asar does it better. Ron Holland is extremely more gifted when it comes to one-on-one scoring and isolation scoring, taking players off the dribble and scoring in the half court. He is far more advanced at that than Asar Thompson.
Offensively, it's not even close.
I don't know why the fuck we took Asar Thompson.
Yeah, Cam Whitmore would have been nice.
That would have been nice.
But what you
Taylor
call?
Hendricks
You was
is
gonna
three
ask me
points.
saying my bad.
No, it's all well and good, but you're still somebody who is not as high on the Ron Holland signing. I mean, draft pick. Why do I keep calling it signing? Draft pick. I'm somebody who's
same thing, damn near.
Who's like came around a little bit, but given everything that the Pistons have done with the draft picks, with the Tim Hardaway Jr., Tobias Harris, J.B. Bickerstaff, Fred Vincent, Trajan Langdon, what are your expectations for the Detroit Pistons this year?
I would say my expectation is, like I was telling y'all in the break, 30 wins is definitely not crazy to expect, because as to Alan W. point in the chat, without Monty was the reason that we blew a couple games. And from the games that I watched, not a lot of times, but sometimes the play alone was the reason we blew games. Like, I don't know if y'all remember the discourse, but like the first 2-3 games, everybody was thinking like, oh, this Pistons team might be legit. This Pistons team might be a play-in team. Then it just literally just all went down the hill after they got their first 20-point loss to the Bulls. It literally went straight downhill from there. So it's like, I easily see this team getting 30 wins. I won't say easily. Whew. Yeah, I won't say easily, but I say like around that 25 for sure.
25 for sure.
I would damn near. I'm doing heavyweights later. I'm gonna talk to Easy about opening up the sports book for that bet.
Oh,
I'll take 25 wins.
Well, that's must-see TV.
Just don't bring up Jared Goff's name.
Yeah, no, he low-key hate Jared Goff.
He does, not low-key.
But I see. Look, the thing is though, with that, I get where he's coming from. I for sure get where he's coming from.
Oh yeah, we're talking Jared Goff. Yeah. For another day or
that's why,
maybe another
segment. That's why I just left it at that. That's why I just left it at I get where he's
Easy's
coming
not
from.
that far off. It's
But what's your call?
you know.
But and then I would say, because I could see K easily averaging like 25, 8 assists, and then if you can get Jaden Ivey playing to like somewhat to how he was when Cade wasn't in the lineup, you compare that with Cade playing at his highest level, and then maybe Asar can start. I'm just chalk it up. I'm never gonna expect Asar Thompson to be a good shooter. I didn't chalk that out for him already. But if he can be that defender that everybody expects, we can definitely get to 25 wins.
I think he can be that shooter. Maybe not like a 40% shooter, but like Sam said, he just needs to be respectable. So it helps him. It helps create space on the floor for the team, but also so he can cut and drive. And it's actually more important for Ron Holland, who has a more developed offensive game, to be able to drive to the hoop on NBA defenders. You gotta shorten that gap, and the only way to do that is if they respect your 3-point shot.
Definitely.
Honestly, get Ron Holland and Asar Thompson in the 30s this year, and you'll see it'll look like a different basketball team. I honestly think if you get Ron Holland,
it would be drastically
shooting
different.
30% from 3, I think he will get some Rookie of the Year votes. I'm not saying he's going to win it. I'm just saying, given the weak draft class, given that there's pretty much holes and deficiencies, glaring deficiencies with all of the draft picks. There's not really a can't miss, including with Ron Holland, by the way. But if you can get him shooting 30%, given his athleticism, given, as Spenny said, his ability to take people off the dribble. I mean, I actually watched one of the highlight reels, which you put out, Spencer. I want to give you credit for that, in which it kind of showed his whole skill set. You showed him taking defenders off the dribble, finishing at the rim, cutting, even kind of doing an off the dribble mid-range, a crossover three. He's got the tools. He's just got to improve that three-point shot. But Fred Vincent, like I said, it wasn't just for Lonzo Ball. It wasn't just for Brandon Ingram. It wasn't just for Herb Jones. It was also for Jose Alvarado and Najee Marshall as well. Najee Marshall probably doesn't make that money with Dallas if it wasn't for Fred Vincent.
And did you say Brandon Ingram too?
Yes.
Yeah, Brandon Ingram too, who was a good offensive player before. His shot got better with Fred Vincent. And last point I want to make on Ron Holland, to me, he's 18 years old. I think him just getting stronger alone without even working with a shooting coach, I think it'll improve his jumper. It'll improve his three-point shot. He's 18 shooting NBA threes in the G League versus going to college where it's a little shorter. So I just think being stronger is going to improve that alone. Like you said, he's got decent form.
And
you add Fred Vincent to that,
his shot
this
looks
could be a
lot
quick
better.
turnaround for his three-point shooting.
His shot looks a lot better than Ausar Thompson's.
Yeah,
like
yes.
just eye test wise, he brings it down from real low, which they're going to fix that. That's going to be the first thing they cut out of the shot is bringing the ball so low. It's just going to be right in the pocket and shoot. But yeah, like Ausar, he like kind of pushes it from his head while Hollins looks more fluid.
Yeah,
I was what you call say too. Ron Holland, the fact that he is 18 is probably going to bode better for him shooting. Granted, Ausar did come from like a similar type of situation, but Ausar was coming in at 21. Ron Holland is coming in at at 18 flat. So he's like, bro, that 3-year difference makes a lot of difference.
Huge.
Like the ability like mold and like I guess shape a player's game, and especially with like something like shooting. He already said it. He was like, I just got to tweak one thing and I'll be good. So like something like shooting, you really only got to tweak like little stuff here and there. Sometimes you can over tweak it and like ruin it, but based off how he's looking and like the numbers and like the things that I've saw off his shot, he just needs those like couple of tweaks and he'll be good.
And Flannel, all of this stuff we're talking about, Ron Holland, Tobias Harris, Jaden Ivey, like, it all comes back to Cade, though. Like, the success of this team, also why I think this offseason is just a win in general, they lock Cade up.
I actually have a question about that when we come back, involving maybe one Cade Cunningham. But first, tell us about KDK Law.
I'll tell you about KDK Law because if you're dealing with divorce, child custody, visitation, or other family law issues, Kevin and Catherine at KDK Law in Birmingham, they'll have your back. They got 10 plus years of experience, 24/7 availability they offer to their clients. So just scan the QR code on the screen above my head or call 248-971-0476. Tell them this. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you, and KDK will pay your filing fee. How about that? KDK Law, they've got your back.
So just to get the heated steering wheel, I also had the spring for the bigger rims.
Yeah, that's how they get you. Those upgrades will cost you an arm and a leg every time.
Hey, new car crew, how'd it go this weekend? I got a great deal on mine.
How?
I went to Randy Wise, not those other guys. They got me in a great new ride, and they didn't break my budget. Hey, could you pass me the sugar?
How?
Never mind.
He made the wise choice.
Yep.
Make the wise choice at randywisechevy.com.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. This is exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. The same great service that customers have come to know and trust on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today at lesstanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Welcome back to Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. And before we went to break, I kind of teased a question about Cade Cunningham. It sort of paraphrases and expounds on an idea that was put in the prep so eloquently made by Mr. Spenmo Rax. So the question that I have, and I want to go around the room with this one, I'll start with you, Broder. Is next year's sort of improvement of the team more contingent on Cade's improvement or a better team around him?
Better team around him. I think Cade is going to improve each and every year. I just think he's that type of player, that type of person, he made that type of commitment when he signed the extension, although that is the most money you're going to get from the team that drafted you. But nonetheless, I'm not worried about Cade at all. As long as he can stay on the floor, which he has some injury history. I don't know if it's enough to be injury concerns. As long as he's on the floor, I'm not worried about Cade at all. It's about these players around him. I love that they got adults around him now. I love that they have NBA. I like the JB Bickerstaff. I think it's about the players around him, Flannel.
That's a great answer, and I would probably tend to agree. But I want to go to you, Spenmo Rex. Is it more about Cade's improvement or the players around him?
I mean, it's 100% the players around him. You look at what Cade's done in his short career already. Like his rookie season, he had a rookie season only comparable with guys like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and Luka Doncic. You look at what he did last year, and he put up similar, if not better, numbers to Paolo Banchero. It's just his team was bad, so he wasn't an all-star. And you look at the guys they put around him, and Tobias Harris is an improvement from anyone they had. He's going to make shots. Tim Hardaway Jr. is an improvement to anyone they had. He's going to make shots. Both of those guys should be in the starting lineup from day one. The starting lineup should be Cade Cunningham, Tim Hardaway Jr., either Ron Holland or Asar Thompson. I'm not mad at whoever you have there. Tobias Harris, and then Jalen Duren. And you got Fontecchio, Jaden Ivey, Marcus Sasser, the other of Asar and Ron Holland, and Isaiah Stewart right now coming off the bench. And I think that starting lineup alone will help him so much because Tim Hardaway Jr. made 100+ more threes than anybody on the Detroit lineup last year. That is an extreme improvement. Tobias Harris is a guy who will catch and shoot and knock him down. And so it's like what we would have had with Burks and Bojan if they could have played healthy. But now you got guys who are actual shooters that'll help Cade.
Yeah. Well said, Spenny. Joel, this upcoming season, is it more about Cade Cunningham's improvement or the players around him?
For me, I would say Cade, really anything that he does personally, like even if Cade gets to the point where he's averaging 30 and 10 assists, I don't think that will boost the team too much more. So I would definitely say it's the team around him because I was just seeing something too where the last I don't know, it was like a list of 20-something players though. And it was like the most high usage players have not won an NBA championship. So you just gotta cultivate a team around him that'll be able to hit all the strengths and weaknesses, like a good 3-and-D wings, nice big man that can run to the rim. Like we already got that in Jalen Duren. Maybe just improve defense a little bit. People get down on him about his defense, but I'm not really too worried because he about to be 20 going into this season.
Oh jeez.
And 20 going into this season, and he's showed great. Signs that he can be great all around. He just, the way I look at it, he's just young as hell, and that's something that'll come as he matures in this league. So I would say the team just got to get better, and you will see that in that Cade will start to unlock another level in himself too, though.
Yeah.
But Cade improving by just itself won't improve the team, if that makes sense.
Flannel, before you give your answer, if you have one to give, is it safe to say that we're all just kind of, and maybe around the NBA too, forgetting or not realizing how good Cade Cunningham really is? Because the team has been so good, we're just not appreciating it as much. But he's a stud.
I think some of our own fans are forgetting how good Cade Cunningham is. Stick, but that's another story for another day.
Don't get me started on that one.
No, we've had our battles, and I don't know if I want to rehash.
See, look, I didn't have the battles while y'all had them in the chat. I'd be at the crib just going crazy when he bring that up. Oh my God.
Hey, he's a motherfucker, but he's good at what he does.
Cade or Stick?
Yes.
Literally, no, he is for sure.
Stick and I have a very
Stick know what he's doing.
Contentious relationship on air, but a very acrimonious one off air. I will just say
Perfect way to
but,
describe it.
But anywho, it's 100% about the players around him because I'm good on Cade. I think that he's already what we need him to be. I don't think you can ask for much more. I've told you before that the numbers he put up last season were all-star numbers. And I'm going to give these numbers again for people who haven't heard him and for people who really need to kind of contextualize it. He had more points per game than Paolo Banchero, more assists per game than Chris Paul, a higher field goal percentage than Mikal Bridges, a higher three-point percentage than Dame Lillard, fewer turnovers per game than Luka Doncic, and a higher free throw percentage than Kevin Durant. The reason why I chose those certain players is pretty damn impressive to have a better three-point percentage than Dame Lillard. It's pretty damn impressive to have a higher free throw percentage than Kevin Durant, a guy who you swear when watching him has never missed a free throw in his life. It's 100% the team around him. And last year, I thought that the fit was awkward with a lot of players. I thought that Monty Williams did some terroristic things, especially with the Killian Hayes and Asar Thompson lineup to start the year, with the all-bench lineups that just made no sense. Sometimes when the Pistons were even looking like they were in control of the game, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's -10 while these guys are out on the floor. Just stuff like that. It just drove me crazy. But yeah, I think getting more shooters like Tim Hardaway Jr. and Tobias Harris is going to help. Getting Fred Vinson to hopefully work with some of the, I would say, lesser shooters, and even Cade Cunningham. Even Cade could improve his three-point shot a little bit.
More arc.
And that's fair. 36% is good, but if he can get to 38 or 40, then he's absolutely unstoppable. But like Jaden Ivey, even, I've always said that he's not a good fit for this team. Or I haven't always said it. I'm not like easy, but I kind of surmised that for myself last year. But if he can play a little bit more off ball, or maybe if he can play on or Cade off, although I'd prefer Cade on, but that's another story for another day. If he can improve that three-point shot, and it's not quite as bad as people say, that would be a plus. It's all about what's around him. I mean, just look at last year with like Asar Thompson shooting percentage, Killian Hayes, Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey. I mean, nobody could shoot threes. James Wiseman. And also, all the injuries. I mean, what was their free agent haul last year? Joe Harris and Monty Morris.
Oh my
Monty
gosh.
Morris didn't even play. Joe Harris,
Alec Burks,
when he got there, was absolutely cooked. Alec Burks missed a ton of games. Bojan missed. He played 29. Simone Fontecchio played.
Bojan barely been playing.
Bojan played 29. Fontecchio played 16. I mean, just nothing went right for Cade last year. And if I want to give a little tidbit on this, the one thing that I think has been a little underrated about Tobias Harris especially is that he's been very durable throughout his career. He doesn't miss a ton of games. Obviously, when you get up there in age, you're more susceptible to it, but he hasn't missed a ton of games. Tim Hardaway Jr. has played full seasons before. So yes, I guess my underlying point is it is 100% about the team around him, because Cade is him, and the Pistons rewarded him in such with that extension, with that max extension, which he absolutely deserved.
Flannel, would you say the same thing? And this is a question from Jack Harrington. Would you say the same thing about Bronny James and the Lakers? It's about what's around him.
What do you got to quote Jack Harrington? I know what he was going to say about that. I mean,
you can move on.
I'm not necessarily in favor of it, but it's going to be cool. You can hate LeBron all you want, but it's going to be cool seeing them on the court at the same time. Do I think that they constructed the best team that they could have in the offseason to help LeBron get ring number 5? No, I do not. No, I do not.
That's why I took $104 million, because they couldn't get anybody else.
Shit,
all right, I'll take the max.
Deal.
What?
Said on a 2-year deal. He's
2-year deal. And I believe him when he would have signed for less if they brought in DeRozan or some of the other guys they were going after, but they didn't. So LeBron's just like, all right, I'll take it all.
I don't think DeRozan is a championship swinging player, though. Like, I don't think if this Lakers team as composed, if they would have added DeRozan, I don't think they would have been a championship team still.
I don't know.
It's like
any team with LeBron and AD, they got a shot.
They would have for a fact been better, but shoe in for a championship or even like the conference finals, I would say they probably would still been like they're probably been second round now.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the Lakers, and maybe I'm pie in the sky, I think that the Denver Nuggets are just bad matchup. They're the Lakers' kryptonite. And for some reason, and the Lakers also have the power to morph Jamal Murray into an all-NBA player, into playing the best basketball of his life. What did he average in the series, in the conference finals a year before? Like over 30 a game on ridiculous efficiency. And then this year he hit 2 buzzer beaters. It's just, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know if I have a lot of faith in the Lakers getting number 5, although Dalton Knecht was a good pick, and D'Angelo Russell is better than you think as a regular season player.
You know who I do have faith in?
Who do you got faith in?
Randy Wise.
Absolutely. Randy Wise, the Wise guys. I don't know if that's a thing, but How would you like to play the University of Michigan golf course with Braylon Edwards? It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour. Register today and you could round off our foursome at woodwardsports.com or scan the code on the screen. When it comes to your next car or truck, make the wise decision. It's Randy Wise Automotive.
At Planet Fitness, you can get everything you need for just $1 down.
Try out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Hey, y'all better get on these free fitness training sessions from Planet Fitness.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home?
Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
Join Planet Fitness today and get everything you need for just $1 down. $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends Thursday, July 18th.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids, all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Over Michigan, locations are popping up all over Metro Detroit. They just opened a new store in Madison Heights, known for their quality hand-battered, hand-breaded chicken tenders, their New York-style pizza, and the best biscuits in the game. So make sure you go to Soroki's now. You can find a location near you at Sorokis.com. Soroki's, now that's crispy.
It is absolutely crispy and cruising along on Big D Energy. We are all, this show has absolutely flown by with kind of a...
one more hour, let's go.
Yeah, I could probably go another hour, but with like a little bit of a skeleton crew, but it's the best skeleton crew we could ask for. There's no skeletons when we got Matt Broder and Joel filling in. There's no skeletons.
Look at those guns. Look at that.
Yeah, they're all right. They ain't the best. They could be better. Hey, yeah.
Planet Fitness.
Planet Fitness.
Hey, you know
Fitness
what?
is essential.
Actually, and spending... Why not? Let's just have some fun. I'm actually starting today, and Spenny, you know this better than anybody here, better than anybody in the room for sure. I have a severe addiction to a soda or pop, whatever you guys call it.
You're a fiend for sure.
And I also
It's pop.
Now that I'm here, I guess I should change it to pop. In Illinois, it was Springfield, but I'm a Michigander now. But yeah, and also when it comes to sweets, I like them a little bit too much. Usually you'll find me with the honey bun after the show or cookies or something.
What was his
birthday
name?
Pie.
So wait, what's the pop? What, you addicted to Coke?
Any pop?
All of it.
Pepper.
The fuck?
I am as addicted can be. However, starting today, I'm giving it up with sweets. Giving up pop and sweets, 100%.
No.
At least for like a month or so.
I was gonna say I'll give it a week.
Is it Lent?
No, it's not Lent.
Start drinking water, Flannel.
And that's what everybody always says, drink water. I had a protein shake for breakfast today.
Wow.
I can tell.
What was in it?
It was a chocolate and peanut butter. It was one of those Atkins ones.
Okay.
No, they weren't bad at all.
You gotta get my recipe. I'll have you making like a protein shake you'll be obsessed with.
Are those drinks that you like
That's
carry
what I
around
walk in
from
with
time to
every
time?
day. Yeah. That's what I walk in with every day. Cause I go to the gym every morning. So.
Oh, that's your. Did you go this morning?
Hell no.
No.
As soon as I woke up, I had to go to the house and just start getting ready. So I ain't really had time to do nothing for real. Cause I usually get up at like 6 like 6:30, 7, and go to the gym.
Power Neck is already halfway through his day.
No, damn near, yeah.
I can't do morning.
It's better to
workouts.
get up early though. You're able to get like way more stuff done early. A nice start to your day.
I can't do morning workouts.
No, it's tough. Like getting up that early and everything. There have been a few times, even in the dead of winter, where like me and my wife have done morning walks with my dog Jake, and it's miserable.
Shout out Jake.
Shout out Jake.
You got to do it 21 days in a row. Anything 21 times.
Okay.
It becomes a habit.
Yeah.
So you just got. It sucks for all 21 times. It sucks. And there will be a moment where you wake up. You're like, oh, okay, let's go.
Start ripping darts, Flannel.
Oh, that's what.
Start smoking darts.
Yes.
That's what I want to do.
Is
now.
the dog named Jake after Adventure Time?
No.
How'd you land on naming a dog Jake then?
It just happened. And now that he's gotten kind of.
It's a very cute dog.
Oh yeah, he's been in here once when he was a lot smaller. I'd like to bring him in again sometime. But but now that he's become a little bit more of like more of a dog and not a puppy, I always call him by his full name now, Jacob.
That's the name of Steve DeYoung's son. Or gonna be son. We're looking for a middle name for him.
Waiting for you, Flannel, to name your
It's also
dog
the name
Jacob.
of a State Farm agent.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. I mean, shout out Swiss.
Shout out Swiss.
Yep. His first.
Do you like Verner's, by the way?
I love Werner.
Okay,
Werner
so it's
sucks.
all pop.
No, what's your call? I was just about to ask y'all a question because they made me think of it. I've been asking like Detroiters. Well, I guess
Around
you're
the
not a
block?
Detroiter, Sam. But do you think that Verner's is the best ginger ale soda?
I mean,
I low key think no.
All ginger ale sucks.
I ain't gonna lie. When I go on a plane, whenever I go on a plane, I get a ginger ale, and I think they give me like Seagrams, and that should be good.
Settles your stomach.
Yeah, damn near it do. Yeah, cause ginger is in general good for your stomach. So
Ginger ale sucks.
Jay Washington. I think he's talking to you, Spenny. Verner's doesn't get the respect it should.
Werner sucks.
I will say this.
What?
I don't know if Verner's is disrespected. I kind of feel like Michiganders appreciate it for what it is. I like Verner's. I like ginger ale because it's kind of like medicine. It's not even like I could honestly drink a Verner's and kind of feel like I'm not breaking my moratorium from soda. I'm not going to do it. All I know is that, and maybe I shouldn't be thinking about this. Maybe people like Pete who are in the room right now will say that I'm like that I'm just like a young buck still, but I'm in my 30s now. I can't just be like
You're an old man.
Eating and drinking anything that I want.
It's true.
Like honestly, the
welcome to the group. Welcome to being an old man, dude.
My sugar sort of problem is gonna probably get me diabetes before it should.
Diabetes.
I'm trying to change some things around. Eat
Got
more
that
protein.
there diabetes.
It's funny that we're talking about this, heading into a Planet Fitness break, which you let me know when we take it. But I want to point out one thing. My grandpa is no longer with us. When he would take me out golfing as a kid, at the turn, and apparently this is like a Detroit golfing thing, at the turn he would order a Verner's and chocolate milk.
Oh, what the? Whoa.
Like
It's
together?
I know it sounds horrendous.
Ugh.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's like I don't want to put it in the Arnold Palmer category, but it's like 50-50 Verner's and chocolate milk.
It's a mixer.
Category is an order.
Isn't that weird?
I'll take your word on that.
Try it.
No thanks.
Try it, little yoo-hoo.
I hate Verner's.
Yoo-hoo.
I hate root beer. I'm not. I hate Rock and Rye.
Rock and Rye is terrible.
Yeah.
Bro. The first time I ever drunk that shit, I felt like, what's the word? Betrayed. Because I thought I was getting a cola. I thought I opened up the cola. I drank that shit and immediately spit it out.
Rock and Rye sucks.
Yeah. That's
So is root beer. Root beer is terrible.
A couple Debbie Downers in the booths.
It's all right. We can enjoy our root beers and our ginger
I'm a
ales.
juice guy over pop any day.
I was about to say, I'm more of a water person.
Yeah.
Just give me a
Jose
water.
Canseco.
Black coffee,
Oh, yeah.
Flannel. All I gotta say to you is black coffee.
Black coffee too, for
Black
sure.
coffee.
Black coffee in the morning because honestly, there were I didn't start drinking coffee on a regular basis till I was like 27, 28 for real. Like I didn't drink it in college or anything like that, but I started out because it was coffee and I was new to it. I started out by just like dumping it full of cream and all of that, but it felt like I was having a milkshake in the morning. It wouldn't even make me feel good. So now I'm black coffee all the way. And Pete, sound like you learned that lesson a while ago.
Good. Yep. Nope. Absolutely. I'm just saying, if you want to give up pop and sugar, which I've done or tried to do many times, black coffee is the way to go.
Black coffee. Yep. Every single morning. It's the only way that I know how. DNCENT in the chat. Core Power Protein Shakes. They have chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla. They taste like legit ice cream right up your alley. That is certainly something that I am going to need to.
A&W root beer is elite. No root beer is elite.
It is.
All root beer sucks.
I like
what?
Root beer is terrible.
You're not from Michigan.
Root beer sucks. I hate root beer.
I say like this. I won't never
agree with
drink
Spenny.
a root beer just on its own to drink it, but I won't say it sucks. It's just not a.
I would never
not a
accept a
drink I
root
would
beer
ever
if someone
choose to
offered
drink,
it to me.
Really?
Even as a mixer?
Even as a mixer.
Damn.
I'd
Even
rather
as
use
a root
water.
beer float?
Even as a root beer float.
Oh.
I'd rather use water as a mixer than root beer.
Water float.
Give me a tequila and water before.
A water float.
Yeah.
Do they have tequila and root beer? Is that a thing?
I don't know.
I might try it. Well, I
Jack
can't
and
now.
root beer? No, I'll do Jack and water.
No. You're a Jack and Sprite?
Jack and Sprite's good, yeah.
Captain and Sprite?
Oh, yeah.
Captain and Coke. Jack and Coke is what they normally do. What
sure.
the kids normally do. Sprite?
I used to drink Captain Morgan's on the rocks.
That's
alcohol.
You want to talk about hangovers the next morning, boys? Oh my God!
It's like having Crystal Palace on the rocks. Or Kamchatka.
No, that's like me yesterday taking straight Don Julio Casamigo shots.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about right there.
Like you live for the moment at the night, then you wake up in the morning like, fuck. I ain't gonna lie, I don't feel too bad though. So like Other liquors, you can like. I tell people all the time, you cannot cheap out when you drinking liquor. Like, do not buy no cheap shit. That's when you're gonna be waking up.
That's when you feel like shit the next day.
Yeah, that's when you're gonna wake up feeling super thraxed.
Yeah.
But what's your call? So what's your like favorite drink then?
You just, if you are gonna have a night like that, you got to make your way to a gym, right? Do I take a break
Literally.
now? Should I take this break?
Go ahead. Hey,
There's only one gym to go to.
You transitioned yourself, so
Hey.
go right ahead.
I'm not going to touch that one with a 10-foot
Oh my
pole.
God.
But no matter where you, if you are, you're not going to get judged at Planet Fitness. They accept everybody. Curls for the girls, buys for the guys, whatever suits your fancy. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There's like 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. At Planet Fitness, you're going to experience a squeaky clean gym. It's got tons of equipment, friendly, knowledgeable staff, and guess what? Like I just said, it's a judgment-free zone. So did you know all Planet Fitness memberships include fitness training for no extra cost? If you want to pay a little bit extra, though, you get the PF Black Card perks. And you enjoy amenities such as a limited use of Black Card Spa, featuring hydro massage, massage chairs, and total body enhancement, and more, along with access to over 2,500 locations worldwide and unlimited guest privileges. For more information or to join today, visit your local Planet Fitness at planetfitness.com.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola, really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week, walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Sports fans, don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday during Big D Energy and Thursdays during Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, where he offers top-notch injury advice. Trust the guy the DMAC trusts. That's 4 Stanley Cups. Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsAndSpine.com or call 248-426-9944.
Hey, last segment of the day on Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network. And I appreciate our audience because I didn't even call for mailbag, but you guys are already in with your mailbag questions.
Mailbag.
Dante, and keep them coming, by the way. Dante151 has a great one. Everyone, what is your favorite bad movie that you can sit through and watch? And he says, mine is The Room.
The Room. That's it. Dante was talking about The Room on Wake Up Woodward. I got to go back and watch that. Favorite bad movie? If you got one, let it fly. I got to think for a second.
I
I got to think about it.
I do have a good one. I just forgot the.
This one is just stuck in my head. I don't believe it now still. When I was growing up, Napoleon Dynamite, like I would watch it like once a week, mainly because my dad thought it was the dumbest movie of all time. So I felt closer to it.
Billy Madison.
See, I don't really like watching movies, so I can't even think.
That's a great one. And by the way, Dante151, The Room is a great choice. The Room to me has become something that I've watched so much that I don't even think it's a bad movie anymore. It's just a good movie. All of that stuff that's kind of if you can kind of contextualize it, that maybe it wasn't what Tommy Wiseau was going for, you can appreciate it. And I'm certainly glad that you do, Dante.
I got another Adam Sandler one. Let me just throw that in real quick.
Airheads. What is it? Click or
Airheads is a very bad movie that I could actually sit through. And
Airheads.
Yeah, when he's in a rock and roll band with Steve Buscemi and Brendan Fraser.
Okay.
And
yeah.
Yeah, that's a really
Wild Hogs.
Yeah. When
What's that movie where Kevin James like become a fighter for like because he like teaching some kids and he be a UFC fighter or some shit. Boss rooting his coach or whatever, his trainer. That's like a bad movie that I just constantly watch.
Yes, the great one. And Mason Leach, mailbag. Is anybody going to
Wild West?
Hey, yeah, that's a good one. Is anybody going to the Texas versus Michigan game? I'm going to be going by myself probably. Just curious. Yes, my goal is to be at every home game this year. I'm going to be able to ride the coattails of my father-in-law probably for 4 of them at least, but all the others I will find my way. Certainly, I would appreciate it if he would take me to Texas, Michigan, so I don't have to pay a pretty penny, but I've never had the experience of kind of more chill and relaxed Michigan football games. Because of what we all got to witness last year, if they lose a game or 2 or 3, I'm not even going to be that mad. I've talked to Spenny about this. The only thing that could kind of knock me out of my bliss is if Michigan loses to Michigan State at home.
That can't happen.
Then I will be furious.
Cannot happen.
But other than that,
would not hear the end of me.
Yeah,
I know, and that would be okay. But just getting that opportunity would be pretty nice. Getting a team like Texas coming into here, Oregon, and even that first game against Fresno State, because Michigan games for me, especially in the ones that I've went to in the last few years, even though they've been in probably their greatest 3-year stretch ever, I don't enjoy them. I don't enjoy Ohio State games until the outcome is no longer in peril. My goodness, when Ohio State was making that last drive, the one where Rod Moore got that pick, I was in like agony. I almost passed out.
I was going to say, I guess to piggyback off that, somebody asked, I guess this is more to me and Spinny. They said
I think it was Mason Leach too.
Yeah, I would say they said to the MSU fans. It was Mason Leach that said it. He said to the MSU fans, "What do you expect for the season record?" He said he predicts 6-6. I honestly, I would probably say the same or damn near worse. Even though I just graduated from Michigan State, I do not believe in this football team for the most part from what I've seen from the times that it's been there. But it's a whole new regime, so I save some of my prior, I guess, transgressions against the team. I won't really, because really I more so I never liked Mel Tucker at any point. I never did. So that was where a lot of my hate was coming from. I thought he was overhyped. But this year we got a whole new regime in, so I'll say I just want a bowl game. I just want 7-8 wins. 7-8 wins would be a great season to me. That would be a great season.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's about 7 wins, somewhere around there. I think a lot of improvements on offense with the offensive line. Obviously, Aiden Childs bringing in a lot of great players. You got some defensive improvements as well with the linebacking core and some of the transfers they brought in. I think their running back tandem is going to be pretty damn good. When you look at on paper, you got 2 guys who rush for 1,000 yards. So I'm excited to see what they can do. And give me 7 wins, and I'd be happy.
I'd say bowl game is a success for MSU. A playoff appearance is a success for Michigan because it's 12 team. I think if they don't make it, Michigan, that probably means they have 3 or 4 losses. And I'm not saying it's the end-all, be-all, but it would be, if you're looking at that season in a vacuum, a bit disappointing, Broder.
I'd probably say a playoff win, 1 win to consider a success. With 12 teams, if they better be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like that should be expectation. Now you got to win one.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Jeff Olson, this is interesting, although I don't think there's a defined answer. How many great seasons does a player have to string together before he is considered elite in your eyes?
5.
And does it make a difference in a sport? I think it does. Did you say something?
Yeah, Joel said 5, and I would agree with that.
5 seasons to be considered elite.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
I don't know. How about this theory? If CJ Stroud has another good year, is he an elite quarterback?
At the time being, yeah, but if you look back at his career
Anything
and
can
he
fall
just had
off.
subpar numbers afterwards, then it would just be like he had an elite 2 seasons.
Well, right.
But that's why I
so
say,
at the time, though.
Yeah, I would say at the time he would be considered elite. That's why at a I more so look at, I say 5 seasons because it's all right, you got 1 good season, 2 good seasons. You can string 5 together seasons or 5 great seasons together. They'll look back at your career like he was an elite player.
Gotcha.
But if you only string together 1 or 2 and then have some subpar seasons. They would like he had elite seasons here and there, but he wasn't like an elite player, if that makes sense.
So if Jared Goff had 6 good seasons and 2 bad ones,
then he would just be like a good player. But if he had 6 elite seasons and then 2 bad ones, you would say he was an elite player.
The 2 bad ones were the first year with the 2 worst teams in the NFL.
Context definitely matters too when the bad seasons are coming for sure.
I don't think you can just put like a amount of time to string it together. I guess the question I would ask now is Tarek Skubal elite? That's one where it's like, when you watch him, when you see how dominant he's been since last September, it's like, yeah, but if the definition is you got to do it for multiple seasons, then no, he's not. If that's your definition, then your elite quarterbacks in the past like 15 years are basically Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Patrick Mahomes. I think right now, Josh Allen.
I would say that's very fair to say, though. Because the way I break it down, I tell everybody all the time, it's good, great, then elite. So a lot of times we clump players into the same thing together, like the same tier, but they're not. So that's why like you get a lot of the discussions about players that you do, because like we comparing like sometimes a great player to an elite player when you should really be comparing that great player to another great player, if that makes sense.
I'm totally down to I subscribe to the fact, or subscribe, maybe they both work. Like elite and Hall of Fame, like they need to be taken a little more seriously. Like before putting just great players in that, like elite or the best of the best.
Flannel?
We need to be a little tighter.
Very good. Yep.
What?
Flannel is saying is the Hall of Very Good, which I like.
Yeah, like there were a lot of very good players in Hall of Fames now, and it's sad because it takes away from like the truly greatest of all time in the sports.
Yeah, like Ben Wallace. Anywho, hey, snuck that in right before the show is over. Thank you so much, Matt Broder, for
what a co-host does. Tee you up.
Thank you so much, Broder, for joining me today. I know doing 2 shows is difficult. Joel, thank you. Spenny, as always, an elite TD man, as well as an elite host on.
It's been 5 years. Sorry.
That's a great point. And Pete, always nice to have you in the building as well. We will see you next Monday. I believe it is going to be me, and I actually don't know. We shall see. I don't think is he gonna be here? We'll see. But Big D Energy, please tune in no matter who is here, and tune into Ermanni and Edwards with Maz and Heavyweights tonight. We will see you next Monday. Well, see you later.